this video, we are going to explain a technique based on mnemonics, which is a memory aid to help you memorize the articles of the Constitution. First, we'll explain the mnemonics codes that you need to remember. Thereafter, we'll try to illustrate it with an example. So let's get on with it. The first number is 1. Now, 1 in our mnemonic system has a sound of t or d. Now, as you can see, these two sounds are similar, t and d. So we can use any one of them interchangeably. To remember this, we have made this particular memory aid for you. So as you can see, it takes two ones to make a T. You can see that there is a 1 here and there is another 1 here. That's what makes a T over here. You have to remember that you have to remember it both ways. If the number 1 comes in front of you, then you should be immediately able to remember that the sound for it is t or d. And if these particular two sounds come in front of you, like say t or d, then you should immediately be able to decode that the corresponding number to it is 1. Okay. Now examples are Tom, dog. That will be more clear when we go further ahead. For the number 2, the sound is no. Please remember, we're not talking about the letter N, we are talking about the sound no. We'll explain what we mean in a moment. This is the learning aid for it. As you can see, when turned at right angles, N looks a lot like 2, right? So this is just N which has been turned at right angles, and it looks just like 2, okay? Now, here are the examples for it: neck, night, and night. Now, this is what we were talking about just a while ago. You see, in this particular word, night, K-N-I-G-H-T, the starting letter is K, but we're not interested in that. What we're interested is in the sound of the word. It sounds as night, okay? So the first sound that comes is no. That's what we're interested in. If there is a silent K or something else, that doesn't matter to us. So night is equally as qualified as the word night. These two are equally qualified. So please remember, for the letter 2, the sound is no, and for the sound no, the corresponding numeral is 2. Similarly, for the number 3, the sound is ma. When you turn it right angles, M looks a lot like 3. No? So this is M which has been turned at right angles, and it looks a lot like 3. Number 4, the sound is ra. Okay, how do you remember that? 4 ends in R. Okay, so 4 ends in R, so that is the memory aid that you use initially, but after some time you won't need this memory aids. This is just to get you started. You help you remember these particular sounds and the numbers correspondingly. So for the number 4, the corresponding sound is R, and for the sound of ra, the corresponding number is 4. Now for number 5, the corresponding sound is la, and as you can see in the learning aid, the Roman numeral for the 50 is L. So that should help you remember the sound for 5. For 6, the corresponding sounds are sha and cha. As you can see, sha and cha are similar sounds, okay? So they can be used interchangeably. That's not a problem. The learning aid is, okay, so we have a bunch of Aussie players here who are going like shh, who are shushing the opposition or the crowd maybe. And the learning aid we're going to use is they're trying to say shh, or we will hit you for a shix. So that should be helpful enough to remember this particular combination for you. The next number is 7, and the sound for it is ka. Now you can see that we have written K and C here. Please remember that we are not using those words in which C can sound as sa. But there are many words where C sounds as a hard K, okay, like cat. Okay, so the learning aid for it is this. There is a 7 in an inverted K. So this is a K which has been inverted, and you can see there is a 7 in it. Okay, so that's the learning aid for it. Now, look at these examples. Kite is qualified in this particular scheme of things, and so is cat, because see, in both these words, the sound of the first letter is ka, kite here, and ka again over here, that's cat. So any one of these will do. For 8, the sound is fa and wa. Again, very similar sounds, fa and wa, and that's the learning aid. Cursive F looks a lot like 8. Okay, so this is the cursive F, and it, as you can see, it looks a lot like 8, right? So We can use that to remember that. Now, examples are fan and when. Now, do you remember what was the symbol for n? I mean, sorry, the number for n. The number for n was 2. You remember that inverted, when we inverted n, it looked a lot like 2. So, what are the two sounds that you hear when you hear the word fan? Fa and na. So, fa stands for 8 and na stands for 2. So, fan totally stands for 82. Using that, you can remember the article number 82. For 9, the sound is pa and ba. This is very simple. As you can see, pa, this p is nothing but a mirror image of 9, right? And so 9 is a mirror image of p. And b, as you can see, just invert p and you get a b. So I think this is one of the easiest ones to remember. Going to the last one, 0. For 0, the word 0 starts with a z, as simple as that. So 0 has the sound of za and sa. Again, very similar sounds, za and sa. And as you can see here, zebra. Now in zebra, Z will stand for 0. In soap, SA will stand for 0. Here's an example. Suppose you want to remember Article 21 of the Constitution, which is about protection of life and personal liberty. So how can you use this technique to memorize this article? Let's see. First, let us form a word for 21, which is the article number that we want to memorize. Okay. The code for 2 is N, and that for 1 is ta and da. So what are the possibilities for words? Let's see. So these are some of the possibilities that we have. There are many others that you can just figure out. This is just for your illustration. So you can see note, not, nod, night, need. There can be many more. Please just take a moment to note that na and ta. Na here represents 2 and ta here represents 1. Not, na again represents 2 and ta represents 1. Nod, na represents 2, nod represents 1. So you can see night, same thing. Na represents 2 and ta represents 1 again. So you can see any of one of these words will do. So I think we have formed a word for 21. Pick one that's easy to imagine. That's very important. It should be very easy for you to imagine, because our memory works best when we imagine things. So in this particular case, we are going to pick up night. Now you must associate an image with it. So here's the image we have selected. The famous Christopher Nolan movie, The Dark Knight. So let's remember night. When we hear the word night, let's try to picture this particular Dark Knight Batman thing, okay? So Article 21, whenever somebody says Article 21, if you remember the codes well, then you can very easily remember that 2 here stands for na, 1 here stands for ta, and from na and turn, you can very easily recall night. Now, the article is about protection of life and personal liberty. So in this, you have to select a particular keyword. In our case, we have selected liberty and associate it with something that you can imagine as well. So what we have selected is the Statue of Liberty. All that you have to do is that you have to associate this particular Statue of Liberty with night, right? And the only rule when you're associating these two is that it has to be as weird, as funny. It has to be something out of the normal. That is the only rule, because anything weird, anything abnormal sticks in our mind. So in this particular case, what we're going to do is we have replaced the Statue of Liberty with Dark Knight. So if you can imagine the Statue of Liberty on which the statue of particular woman is not standing, but our very own Dark Knight is standing, you can pretty much remember liberty from here. So how will you decode? Suppose you want to remember Article 21. So from 21, you will decode night. And the moment you recall night, you can very well imagine the Dark Knight standing on the Statue of Liberty. So you get the word liberty from that. Once you get the word liberty from liberty, you can make out that the article we're talking about is protection of life and personal liberty. I think that should be clear enough. No problem.